I'm on Commercial Drive, near Napier Street. Now, Commercial Drive is known for its alternative and free-thinking scene, so it's not surprising to find Sweet Cherubim, natural food store, bakery and restaurant. Let's go check them out. Hi, today we're going to chat with Rajinder Bagga, part owner of Sweet Cherubim. Welcome, Rajinder.
Thank you.
Tell us more about Sweet Cherubim.
Well, Sweet Cherubim started in 1980. My brother, who came from India in 1974, after having worked for similar companies, he wanted to make a place where he could serve organic, natural foods, vegetarian foods to people at affordable prices. And when he started, there were hardly any vegetarian places in Vancouver. So,
years ago,
yeah, it was in 1980 when he started the first Sweet Cherubim.
Yeah. I guess 28 years ago.
28 years ago, yes. And he has this principle coming from the spiritual background that he was not gonna touch meat. Even for earning the living, he was not gonna work with meat. And of course, he was a vegetarian since birth. Yeah, and so spiritual reason was the first one, and then later we learned a lot from our customers that it made all kinds of sense. It made the ethical sense, the economical sense, and the environmental sense, and so it made sense in every respect. But the first underlying principle was the spiritual one. But we never imposed it on people. Those people who were looking for it, they came and supported us, and the other people came because the taste attracted them. Yeah. So a lot of people have become vegetarian because vegetarian food was available and more delicious and more wholesome than the regular monotonous meat diet.
Tell us about the food, yeah? Well, you mentioned about it's all strictly vegetarian. When it's strictly vegetarian, is that along like Indian principles or Western principles? Because there is a difference between when you say strict vegetarian in the West and India and stuff.
When we say vegetarian, it means that it can include honey, it can include milk, but definitely no products of how do you put it, reproduction. So no eggs and no meat, of course. So nothing with beef, lard or their byproducts. So yes, milk and honey are allowed in our definition of vegetarian.
Right, so that is like the Hindu or Buddhist, Indian vegetarian, yes, that's pure. And most of the stuff I've noticed is all vegan.
Most of it is vegan. That came about listening to our customers who were particular about vegan, and we found out and we agree the problems with the milk production these days. So we try to use as little as possible milk and cheese and butter in our cooking. So it is in hardly 1% of the things. And also from the food safety point, it makes sense. Vegan foods last longer. There is very less chance of salmonella poisoning, and also the digestive troubles that people get from the milk things when they cannot digest them. So having vegan 90% or more makes sense for us.
It is. I agree totally. So yeah, it's great. I can't help notice the aromas. I keep mentioning this, but the aroma in here just reminds me of being back in India or being in my own kitchen or being in my mom's kitchen. What part of India has influenced your cooking here?
Mostly North Indian, because most of the staff they are from the Punjab and Haryana region, and some influence is from Gujarat, where I was born. So, but mostly it is the Punjabi, North American. And why the aroma? Because it's nothing artificial, because we make things from scratch here. So that is why when when the curry paste, we don't use the bottle curry paste. We take the spices, we cut up the onions, we put the oil, and we saute it. And this is done not one time a day. It is done a few times a day in preparation of different dishes. So that's where the aroma comes from. Plus we do our own baking, so we own our own, bake our own bread, own muffins and cookies. Everything that you see in Sweet Cherubim is baked or cooked here. We hardly use anything canned. Like there's no canned fruit used except for mango, which comes from India and not in season.
I know those tins, yeah.
Yeah, so all the apples, like if we make an apple pie, it's made from apples, and we do the apples right here.
Okay, that's really great. Your ingredients is mostly organic, the foods here, so do you source your ingredients locally, or?
We try to source the ingredients locally as much as possible, and again, being one store, we don't have much choices. We do depend on the wholesalers, and we support the wholesalers which do more local and organic whenever possible. Sometimes it's not possible for practicality reasons and availability reasons, but definitely mostly local.
Just one more thing, I want to backtrack on the food. We mentioned a lot about Indian food here, but the influences are Indian, but this place, Sweet Cherubim, doesn't just have Indian food, there's so many other types of dishes. And so for example, if I look on the menu there, you've got burgers there, entree dinners, you've got different types of salads you've got there, but with all these different dressings like tofu dill, sunshine, vinaigrette, raw, and curry dressing. So there's your Indian influence. And you've got rice bowls and pakora burgers, that's kind of an Indian influence, yeah. Then you've got soups, entree, yeah. There's a large variety of foods there. So you've done like, it's almost like a fusion cuisine, isn't it?
Yes, it is kind of a fusion cuisine, and the reason that came about is because we have Indian food at home. So when we go to the restaurants, we hardly go to an Indian restaurant, because something that we can cook so well at home,
Same as me, yeah.
Why do I want to pay money to eat the same food out there? So we would go to a Chinese restaurant or a Jamaican vegetarian or a South Indian vegetarian, because our cuisine is mostly North Indian Punjabi at home. So in the restaurant, we wanted to do the same model, so that a person who is coming to eat here would not get bored of eating the same spicy food day in and day out, and then they want to go to other restaurants for a change. So we have it, yes, if you want a burger, yes, we have a burger. If you want an Indian flavor burger, we have pakora burger. And then, we have samosa, which is a traditionally East Indian dish, but Indian samosas are mostly just curry potato. We made variations. We made one Greek style, which is spinach and feta cheese. So the crust is the Indian style, but the inside is the Greek style. Yeah, so kids really love. Yeah, Greek Indian.
Greek Indian, excellent.
Yeah, so you cannot get bored of eating at Sweet Cherubim.